Today, Andy, we're going to just talk about your fitness and how, just I was just wondering, how did you actually get started?
Well, my fitness goes back a long way, and it developed through many intervals, if I may use that word, which is quite appropriate for fitness.
That
And
kind of sound
in-
like a stop
interval
start to me.
interval training. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so going back to when I was a teenager, I started with gymnastics, and I went there from there to swimming and did running. I was always very active. I loved swimming by the coast where I was brought up. And also later on, I start working out in the gym,
Mhm.
weights.
Yeah.
Not long after that, I went into martial arts, which is where I spent quite a good amount of time, and I really fell in love. I loved martial arts. But life went on, and then many things got you distracted. You get married, you get kids, etc. And then life, I wouldn't call it life, but your choices in life. And that's exactly what this channel is about for our community. It's not about life, it's about the choices that we make. I made many choices in my life that took me away from what I would say the fitness journey. So I would nail the momentum that I got back in terms of fitness was in 2010. That's where I would say, okay, I seriously started that journey that I am in now until this day.
And was that a particular trigger, or did you sort of gradually come to some realization that hold on, something's missing, or what exactly was it?
Well, there was a massive trigger, which is also the reason why I decided to start with you momentum in my life. The trigger was the death of my dad. But I was very much overweight at that time, living a sedentary lifestyle, very busy with different businesses. I was running two different enterprises. I had a lot of people that depending on me, employees. It was a very stressful time. I was also one of the directors of a local um, small medium enterprises chamber and association, and I was busy and I was running up and down and I was eating badly. I was not having time for anything. And at that time, I was also very depressed, different reasons. And in giving the fact that my dad was severely ill, also it played an important part on all this mess I was in. And as soon as he passed away, in the conditions that he passed away, which we're going to talk about in another episode, I decided I had to change my life.
Right.
So the first thing I started doing is running. That's the easiest thing someone can do, right?
It's the cheapest
Get
as well.
get a pair of shoes and put it like some music on your your
Yeah.
iPod or your iPhone or something, and then off you go.
Hmm.
So during that time, also my brother gave me a few books, motivational books, Awaken the Giant Within, and other books, Slight Edge, which I love that book,
Yep. Yes.
and the many other good books on motivation. And I used to actually upload to the computer and then download to the iPod, and then I, I used to go out and then just listen to those books and those motivational authors. I got in touch with many of them in their literature, in their writings. Then I met Jim Rohn in terms of, not personally, but what
Yeah.
he's written,
Yep.
and then start that everything start changing for me. Start losing weight, and I caught the bug,
Okay.
basically.
Okay. So, what? Let me just dial it back down to the idea of starting running. The Give me a little more color into what is. This like I went out for an hour, I went out every day, I went out once a week. Give me a little flavor of what
I
that
was I was going almost every day at that time, and I went back to work, to working out at the gym, the local gym, and that was like intermittent between like running and gym. At least 3 to 4 times a day, I was going to a short, a medium, and pace, and then at the weekends I was going to I was going to a long run,
Hmm.
like many miles run, but it wasn't like starting straight away from 0 to 100. You start picking up, 20 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes, and then I'll start varying the speed also, and the distances, the speed, and playing around. Got a few equipment to, start plugging into you in your body as you run, the watches and things like that. And I decided to go for a 10K competition, and that was really like a turning point for me, because after that I started wanting to do more and more. Um, and that was also during a very hard time of my life, because it was during my divorce.
Hmm.
And I think during that time, I decided I wanted to push through, And one of the things that I decided that I had to do in my life is going back to my nature and going back to nature. So my fitness reencounter, uh, it was a reencounter with myself and also nature,
Right.
outdoor pursuits and other activities.
Right. So most of what you're talking about is outdoor versus indoor, and nature was a big part of that for you.
Nature was, well, I did things indoor also, but I think nature was a big part of it also, you know.
Okay. So that sounds like you fully immersed yourself um, in the whole process. So you're doing almost every day.
During that initial time, it was very important for me to just push as much as possible, because those during those moments I was running, I would forget,
Hmm.
and I would just allow that the oxygen to go freely through my brain, and then the heart pumping, and I would forget about anything, and then I would just immerse myself into that moment, in the breathing and the movement, and the noise of your own body or your own heart and of your own thoughts, trying to move away from anything else that was like coming against me.
So I guess that is that like mindfulness running when.
Yes, I would say so. And I mean, I was immersing seriously into those, let's say, audiobooks,
Right.
and those the words were also like sinking in, and then the testimonials and or everything that was said in those audiobooks, and also webinars and seminars, and it was amazing.
Yeah. And how long did you actually do that for?
It went from 10 to 2010, and then that time I was in Brazil, and then I went back to Britain, and then I carry on there 2013, 14. I don't think I have stopped fully, but then I started actually getting engaged with other activities. So the running reduced quite a bit, because then I start climbing
Yep.
and bouldering, and also outdoor bouldering and hiking and mountaineering. So I discovered another passion that fitness brought me into the mountains, and that is I discovered that I'm really passionate about the mountains. So I transferred the running into actually hiking up in the Lake District, the Peak District, in north of England.
And I guess that while one went up, the other one went down in terms of intensity and frequency.
Yes, and I never stopped. I've never stopped the gym. I love weights, so that's something I have here down on the floor. I mean, during COVID time, we can't go to the gym. The weights are always next to me. You
Yeah.
know, I confess that the last year was very hard for me, starting with new businesses, and sometimes corporate life takes away, but gradually coming back as we're setting up the community. Also say, no, I really want to get back to it. And the COVID, everything with the COVID change, I think everybody was turning everything upside down, right? We need to find our feet
Yep.
again
Yep.
and
Yep.
find
Yep.
a rhythm again. And I think after all this time, I started to get back to my former self now, and realizing this is the if this is the new normal, is we better adapt, we adapt fast. But what I have never stopped was mountains. Mountains always, that's one of the reasons I moved to Austria.
Mm-hmm.
Fell in love here with the country. I say to my partner, she's Austrian, I say, look, I fell in love with the mountains, then I fell in love with you. So, so she's also someone who loves mountains. I mean, we found each other because, I mean, we basically every weekend we want to go up. We're gonna climb and we're gonna keep walking up and then hiking.
Yeah. So just talk me through that period. So again, at the start of COVID, you're at a particular place, and then COVID happened, and so did the intensity drop a bit, and now you've recaptured it in some way?
Yes, I think it was, to be fair, slightly before COVID, where I think at the end of 2019, I was flying a lot. So my fitness was like running between terminals. So I was flying like mad between the UK and Austria.
Yeah.
And that didn't have much time, didn't give me much time for doing a lot of activity. So that was when dropped quite a bit. And
And
then and then during that period, we all got grounded.
yeah, yeah,
But then I was in a gym, swimming and doing some stuff, start gradually coming back. But then gyms closed, and we had to find a different way of let's say get get to that level of fitness that we're used to. But during that time also was a period of transition, and that is very important for someone who's listening to us now. And by the way, if you have not done, please look for a fitness instructor or someone who can help you with your nutrition or your GP. Everything that we say here, and Johnson, I know you agree with me. It's our experiences, but I think before you start anything, just look for professionals that can
def-
help you on the way.
definitely. So as we talk here, we are sharing experiences, perhaps giving some information, perhaps some tips along the way that have come from your own personal or my own personal experience. But that is not to say that anyone should do everything that is said.
No, absolutely. Our fitness journey series, it's about telling our stories, and we're going to be bringing many more people here. And we started with Verena, my partner, last week, and then myself now, and more people within Momentum also. And our community would love to invite more people to come and share the fitness, because we need to keep encouraging people to step out. I think I heard that once. I don't remember who said that the best gift you can give to the people around you is the gift of your well-being,
Yeah.
gift of your mental health, your physical health. You're looking after yourself. You're seeking to improve who you are. That's the best gift you can give to someone you love. And this has always been a fight for me, because I saw my dad, how he decided to go to a completely let's say, destructive lifestyle. And you can see many people um, that we know, even famous people, that decided that that will be the life that they wanted to have,
Hmm.
and suddenly they start dying young, or by the choices they make. The reason about Momentum is about life choices is because our life choices shapes who we are. My body is shaped by my life choices. So during that time of COVID, it was difficult because it moved us a little bit. So what's going to happen? How am I going to do this? But once things start settling, say, okay, this is what I can do. I'm going to decide here, create a new habit, put my weights next to me, set the alarm clock in a different way, whatever you can do. If you can't go to the gym, you have to find a way.
So that's interesting what you just said in terms about creating new habits in different places. So with all that's happened in the last year, you've now said to me you started putting your weights next to your workstation. Uh, so why have you done that? Oh,
I think I'm going through a book now, and I did that instinctively. But there's a very good book that I suggest if you haven't read, or somebody out there, Tiny Habits. They
BJ Fogg.
BJ4. I mean, he
Yeah.
talks about that. He talks about meanwhile habits. Talks about the pearl habits. He talks about the anchors and the triggers and everything. So I did that instinctively. Well, I have read quite a bit about NLP before. That we're not coming from zero, but this book is just explaining a lot of the things that I've been doing. Well, I read James Clear before also,
Mm-hmm.
and
Atomic Habits.
Dweck. Yeah. So there are a
Yeah.
few good books out there. So, but this book really explains the importance of those tiny habits and leave things close to you
Yes.
that can actually remind you of that. As soon as I finish with you, I'm gonna lift weight for 5-10 minutes.
So do you have any sort of sense of, well, what do you do when the weather's awful outside? Or what do you do when
All the
you're
time.
tired?
What do I do all the time?
It's freezing outside, and you Brazilians don't
Yeah,
like going
yeah,
out in the cold.
I know. It's like, I cream myself first of all because it's so itchy and it's so dry. Everything, the skin goes really crazy here. I was away in Brazil, or went to visit my mom and my children from my first marriage. And the time is there. I have no issues whatsoever with my health, or the sun is out there. It was January by the time, by the way. It was before they closed. I got the last plane coming back to Germany, and then they closed down. So, but in this weather, it's very difficult because for me, my skin goes really dry, and then sometimes the motivation is not there.
Hmm.
And what I do is that I try to do 5 to 10 minutes, even if that, if thinks that is nothing, but at least you are moving. Keep
Correct.
moving. Movement is life. Keep
Right.
moving. Move your arms. Move your, start in the morning or in the evening. Try to move a little bit. That's the minimum we can do. Now the weather is getting better. I'm starting to go out again and running, and there's more stuff to do. Or you can switch on your computer, go on YouTube. There's so many. I'm not going to name channels, but there's so many good channels. Johnson, are we going to talk to you about that? I'm sure you do the same.
Yep.
Just 20 minutes. 20 minutes enough to keep you going.
And I think that that's important. What you described there is the fact that don't aim for perfection. If your perfection is I'd like to do half an hour, but you can only afford 5 minutes. 5 minutes, a choice of 5 minutes takes you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
A choice not to do the 5 minutes takes you in the opposite direction. And so you set yourself further back. So even if it's 5 minutes, or even if it's like you, I don't do the weights next to my workstation, but if that is what is possible at the point in time, well, go for it.
Mm. Yeah, because I believe that the outcomes of our lives are not the sum of years of our existence, but is the sum of seconds and minutes of decisions that we have.
Yes. Yeah.
The compound effect of a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes decision, that that's what actually gives the shape of your life, of your existence. So somebody say, I'm gonna open another can of beer, or it's just another can of beer. Or I'm not saying I'm not, I like beer myself, and I try not to drink a lot because the IBS is not a good thing. But what I'm saying is that you decide between a beer or a sweet, or TV, or doing an exercise or fitness. That second of decision, that is what's adding up for the outcomes in your life.
Yeah. And I guess that's interesting the way you describe it, as to say, well, the choices that you make. But sometimes the choices that you make, you can make it easier to make the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
So if your weights are by your feet, it is easy to make the choice of picking it up.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. It's just easy just to get down, and then
Exactly. Whereas if you put the weights in the other room, you make it harder. So it's simple in that respect to make. I guess what you're really demonstrating is whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
make it easier. whatever you don't want to do, make it much more difficult to make that choice. So you can help yourself along the way.
I don't want to go too long. We have a time format for this, so I just want to finish with this. Fitness is not something that is disconnected from anything else. And one of the things about momentum for me, it's about the holistic transformation. You know, the body, the soul, and the spirit, and how that unify, what transcend your body, you know, nature, your soul, your feelings, your emotions. I think movement is happiness also. If you move, you get happier. There are chemicals in our body that trigger when you move, right? So I think fitness for me, it's always almost like, let's say, a gateway drug in a good way for better experiences with other things, right? Like for meditation or for desiring to do well, to succeed, to breathe better or to sleep better or to eat better. So I think fitness is it's combined with many other things that we do. So that's why this is my point. When I develop, because of the stress, and I think a lot of people listening to us or on the podcast or watching us now on YouTube, it's the stress that comes. And one of the biggest stress that we can have is stress of moving house, of moving something, or the transition, something that changed. And moving from Great Britain to here, it's been a lot of stress, and changing also my business and jobs and career during all this time, you know, triggered a lot of things. And I discovered that I had IBS a couple of years ago. And that is like something that is being like always in the back of my mind. There is a reason, there is a trigger why I need to keep going on that. Why do I have to? Nutrition is key, fitness is key, getting the right nutrients, getting the proper night of sleep, you know, make sure that your lights, the light in your house is correct. So there's a combination. And I think momentum for us, Johnson, is not because we got there, it's because we are on the way and we want to invite more people to this journey with us.
And I think that's a really good point just to end on here is that what you're describing is that sense of there is no destination. There's no finish line that goes, hey, I've won the race, because the race keeps going and going. And sometimes you might be a little behind in the race, or sometimes, you know, like you described, you've changed countries and something slips. So, okay, but you pick yourself up and you move again. And whatever the pace is, as long as you keep moving and you keep, something says to you, hold on, I need to get back to this level. Then that's the whole purpose of it. That it's in itself, the progress that you make is very simply that you keep yourself in the best possible you for this point in time. So it's been great talking to you about your journey on it,
Okay.
and we look forward to seeing where it goes. Take care.
And then looking forward to meet you personally, and we do some running or lift some weight there. I know you got your some weights there with you also.
Hold on.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
All
Thank
right.
you very much, Johnson.
Okay.
Cheers. Bye bye.